Hello, it's Kit Alowitz with yet another Leadership Journey video segment. Today I want to talk about one of Ralph Waldo Emerson's more recognizable quotes. It is this: "What has become clear to you since we last met?" Now, I have to admit that prior to my introduction to Dr. Matthew Chodkowski and attendance at Matt's lead program, I had not heard of this quote, which is surprising to me because Emerson had a great influence on my favorite poet, Henry David Thoreau. So I'm surprised that I never came across a quote, and it's perhaps a travesty to me. Nevertheless, I have it now, and it is the subject of this short video. As you attend the Leadership Journey lead program, Matt asks or references the Emerson quote several times through various modules of the program. What or is there anything that has become clear to you since we last met? These 10 words elicit all sorts of angles to talk about in terms of your personal and professional self-discovery, our leadership journey, our march towards institutionalization, preeminence, and taking excellent care of our customers. Ralph Waldo Emerson lived from 1803 to 1882, where he left his mark on the world as a prolific poet, essayist, popular lecturer, as well as an advocate of social reform. However, he was also suspicious of reform and reformers. He also believed that there is this ceaseless flow of change happening all around us, to us, and what you and I's being is very much subject to this constant metamorphosis, as he described it. This seems to hold true as we think about our personal and professional lives today, as well as our life at Anderson Hauser, a constant metamorphosis. I think this is something to embrace, in fact. How's the saying go? As I remember it, the only constant is change. What has become clear to you since we last met? The statement is actually fascinating if you take time to really think about it. Its context, its meaning, both conscious and potentially subconsciously to you and I personally. Emerson, perhaps at the simplest level, used or meant to use the term when addressing old friends he had not seen for a long time. What, since we last got together, has become clear to you in your life? And right out of the chutes, you can easily see that it becomes kind of a salutation, a different salutation that requires a different and perhaps more thoughtful response than the traditional salutation of, "Hey, how's it going? What's up? How you been?" It requires more thought and invites a more robust answer than our traditional response when asked, "Hi, how are you?" And we reply, "I'm fine, I'm good." Now, if you were asked the Emerson 10-word phrase, would you still choose to be lame? Or you could choose to be lame and still say nothing, or "I'm doing fine," and shrug it off. But it would be harder to reply than the traditional just "I'm good." Additionally, if you buy into Emerson's idea that we are forever mired in constant metamorphosis, you in fact have the stimulus provided to you to get clear on elements of life. The question is, are you interested in examining that stimuli in order to get clear in terms of what is happening into your life if you were asked? Taking the time to examine this, it's a quadrant 2 activity. And therefore, we know it's easy to do and it's even easier not to do. So don't be that person. What has become clear to you since we last met potentially has several invitations for you and I. One invitation is this: are you remotely aware of yourself? Are you self-aware? Are you aware of your surroundings, your activities, your opportunities, your threats, your risks, your life? Likely, the last time we met, something in your life, your surroundings, has in fact changed, either grown, decayed, or changed. Are you aware of such? Another invitation, perhaps a bit more shrouded in this idea, is called the law of entropy. Now, I first learned about this decades ago from David Christensen in his work, Principles of Inner Victory. The law states that there is in fact no such thing as static, that your life is like you standing in a stream or river that you, in fact, can't touch the bottom. Therefore, forcing you to either swim upstream with the current or swim backwards. There's no such thing as standing still. Said another way, we are either growing or deteriorating. There is no such thing as static. Static, then, could mean the brain, if you're trying to think of being static, it's like the brain steps in and something called synaptic pruning potentially occurs. It's the brain's way of removing connections in the brain that are no longer needed. Maybe because we let them idle or stopped exploring such where they're not needed. If you're not pushing and growing, your brain may in fact be pruning, which may wipe away connections and information you learned that helped that now in fact gets removed. Another invitation asks you to think about your life, your activities, intentionally. Make conscientious choices about how to invest your time, energy, and flow. Another invitation perhaps reminds you that if reflection occurs, you and I, in fact, can change, alter, and ensure we maintain the elements of the peace we have or want, and or redirect our efforts towards something different, towards the outcome that we seek. I invite you to consider that we all seek clarity in our lives. The cool part is that clarity can mean different things to different people, which in fact is another angle of being cool. But nonetheless, we seek clarity. Reflection and then introspection as to what we become clearer at in terms of since the last time we got together or checked in seems like wisdom. Another invitation is to seize the moments in our life to create and gain and increase our clarity. The last invitation I'll mention charges us to take observation of our lives, both personally and professionally. For as you know, if we take time to look at the way we see things and observe things, the way that we see and observe can change. Now, my powerful emotional close is this. Instead of us using the lazy statement of how you doing or what's up, I invite you instead to consider asking over the next 10 encounters you have with people that you know, ask instead what's clear to you since the last time we met. Check in on yourself over the last 29 days and ask yourself, what has become clear to me or to you since you last met yourself 29 days ago? Whoa, can you imagine that? There is in fact no such thing as remaining constant in a river where you can't touch the bottom. Because in fact you can't touch the bottom. You're either swimming forward or you're going backwards. Perhaps our individual and collective journeys to preeminence, along that way we should consider asking ourselves more often, hey, what's become clear to you since you last met? Maybe if we asked ourselves with authenticity, with seeing another person as an I-you rather than an I-it, we can mutually help each other fend off entropy, increase our mutual integration of principles and growth towards institutionalization, aka a learning organization, and finally get to the far side of greatness. I've always been attracted to other humans who ask questions like Emerson asked, ones where it's not just some social construct salutation and an easy cop-out as to learning and caring about others. These humans are the ones even more extra worth talking to. These are the types of humans most of us want to have more in our lives around. I want to be that sort of human for you. I ask the same in return. You game? I'm Kid Alowitz, and we'll see you next time.